Codes of Harmony. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. We have a channeled message with a little bit of tarot, little combination, and we're working with motion features. Is that what they call movies? Sometimes motion. That sounds so strange when you say it. Okay, the channeled message is she did not want to give you her magic. She did not want to give you her magic. And let's get some audio going. Because I was going to have the sound of the TV, and then I was like, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. What can we work with? Let's get some copyright-free movie. Something about movies is coming through. And before I go any further, I've been putting out some information about some kind of open critiques and information about the app that you're watching me on here. I just wanted to make it really clear that I am in no way critiquing people who are on this app. Obviously, I'm one of those people. And that when I make observations such as I do, it is because I actually really care about the creators on this app. Okay, let's work with from royalty-free meditation music, Music of Wisdom. And this is 3 Hertz binaural beats. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I keep hearing also machina, the word machina. And I also heard machinations. Machina. Machina is a Latin word meaning machine or device, and it most commonly refers to the acclaimed sci-fi film Ex Machina, the Smashing Pumpkins album, Pumpkins, or the theatrical dramatic device Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Machina, a plot device meaning God from a machine, originated from Greek theatre, where actors playing gods were lowered onto the stage by a crane. Interesting. Maybe cranes are significant. And the 2 tarot cards that we are beginning with are the Four of Swords. Clearing the throat chakra, calling in protection. Just moving that energy. Thank you for being here. Someone's name may be Alex. Somebody's name may be Alicia. And something about humanoid robots. This card speaks of resting. And then we're working with the Five of Wands, which often gets seen as a competition, a card of competition. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Deus ex machina, a plot device meaning God from a machine. So something about something falling from the heavens. This could be like an asteroid, this could be like a comet. This could be an actual tower falling. This could be an actual building collapsing. A bridge breaking. Something about Rome. And machinations. I'm sure that's how I meant to say it. Something about weeping willows and peppercorn trees. Machinations means secret, crafty, and complex plans or plots typically made to gain power or trick others. The word can also refer to a 1980s Australian synth pop band or a visual platform used for game design and tokenomics. Okay, interesting start. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Somebody here could have blonde hair. Somebody here could have blue eyes. Something about Poland. Ooh, ay! Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords, this is air sign energy. Possibly a message arriving via plane, which is unusual. Maybe somebody is coming from far away to give you a special message. Something about tears and Cancer season and water. Something about cargo. You may have noticed that my reading style is changing a little bit. I'm not rushing, okay? So I don't know who needs to hear this, but I do my work in my time, and you may think that I'm doing something in a way you wouldn't. That's because we're not the same person. We're all individual, unique beings. Something about the different doors in the labyrinth that you can choose from that have different speaking door knockers. Something about that particular scene. And then we have the Ten of Swords in reverse. The reversal of betrayal, the truths being uncovered. Again, something about cargo, something about Rome. Something about Cherrybrook. We then have the Devil card showing up. Somebody could be showing up in this energy. Thank you for your patience. I'll be patient with you as you can be patient with me. Cherrybrook is a suburb of northern Sydney in the state of New South Wales, Australia. It has 29 kilometres. It is, sorry, 29 kilometres northwest of Sydney Central Business District. Something about diamonds. Something about boats. The fountain of youth. Then we have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles speaks of being closed out, somebody being removed from a space, removed from a circle, removed from a sporting event, from a diamond, something about baseball. Something about show ponies. A show pony. Maybe somebody you know rides show ponies or gets described as a show pony. I think that was also a band that I remember. Like an Australian band from the mid-2000s, I believe. Cherrybrook, Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia's come up a few times. Cherrybrook is a rural community located in the north of Trunk 7 between Lake Loon and Lake Major and just a few kilometers east of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia just keeps coming up in so many meditations. Most of the people work at trades in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Communities. The Baptist Church is the glue that keeps residents together. Something about the Baptist Church. Somebody looks really good with a shaved head. Please give us clear divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Yes, it's not about what you look like, it's about what you feel like. Knight of Wands. Fire sign energy. You may be a fire sign or be linked to somebody who is a fire sign. Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia. The Nine of Wands, the Nightmare card. Lots on the mind, lots of conversations. Lots of negotiations. Something about white horses. Negotiations, negotiations, memories. Something about memories, the Six of Cups. In Canada, there's some kind of connection between one energy in Nova Scotia. So weird when you say that word a lot. And then we have the Nine of Cups. Is this what channeling looks like, by the way? It has a significant African Nova Scotian population. Maybe somebody here is African or from Africa or has African heritage. Let's see what's happening in the news today. Just for the fun of it. That's my puppy dog snoring in the background. The Morocco-Algeria rivalry is remaking Europe's North African policy. Something about the number 3. Maybe somebody has visited you or is about to visit you. Somebody may have visited you 3 times. Seeing a train. And I'm seeing the Little Mermaid. Something about the Little Mermaid, which of course brings to mind the idea of your voice being stolen. And then we have this Sun card. Ooh. Somebody here may have done some kind of online crime. Somebody may be in that Ursula energy, which of course is copying, stealing. Something about the cradle of life. The cradle of life. Working with white candles will be beneficial to you at this time, as well as warm colors, which of course brings to light extra emphasis around the solar plexus. Morocco controls most of the territory and has made support for its sovereignty claim or its autonomy proposal a central test of its foreign partnerships. Something about independence. You may be a very independent person. Maybe the person or energy, people, place or thing you're connected to may be a very independent or working towards that journey of independence. Yeah. Then we have the Two of Wands, which speaks about having to move forward, stepping out. Morocco offers intelligence and counterterrorism cooperation, helping. Oh, this is, by the way, from Al Jazeera. I always go to say that incorrectly. Which is a website that you can find on the World Wide Web. the Knight of Pentacles. Again, that energy of negotiations. Someone may dress all in white. Something about white, which makes me think about makes me think of how a lot of ceremonies one would wear white. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. So prayer ceremonies. Morocco also has a tradition, many traditions, but it's definitely a border between multiple worlds. Then we have the Justice card, coming through with some justice for you. Something about something to do with power, some kind of power station. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial. Rejecting all projections that are malevolent, all negative energies, entities, interruptions. May only the most well-intending, heartfelt communications come through. Yeah, again, something about the Little Mermaid. It's underwater, of course. In a train line. Then we have the Seven of Cups. What are you going to choose? Then I'm hearing you turn it off. You turn it off is what I'm hearing. Don't know what that's about. Big energy coming through though. And forgiveness has been offered in this negotiation energy. Then is that 2 sevens in a row? Eek! I don't know how often I get that. Seven of Cups followed directly by the Seven of Swords. Makes me think about how I've been sharing some information about alternatives to this space, to this app, and bringing in questions around, how much we get paid in this space, how much this space values readers and our magic and all content creators. And I'm being very guided to reiterate how much that is me advocating for everybody, not just myself, Somebody needs something about the throat chakra is coming through. Something about tailoring, the tailoring of things. To me, that's like customization. Something has been customized. And that orange, something about the color orange. Which makes me think of Thailand and the monks and the Buddhas who wear orange robes. And the elevation of the collective consciousness, collective mind, collective connection, which is something that is not being looked at as deeply as it needs to. The connection between each of us. The impact of the decisions that we have all made collectively, as well as individually, of course. Morocco. Ooh, that's intense. The Seven of Swords and the Seven of Cups together. Seven of Cups speaks of trying to make a choice. Decisions. So somebody say, I hate how much she just keeps loving. What a sad thing to think or feel. Nova Scotia and Morocco were physically attached as neighbouring regions inside the ancient supercontinent Pangaea until plate tectonics. That's been coming through a lot too, about the tectonic plates. What's underneath, metaphorically we can see that as what is in the shadows of the soul, of the self, of the mind, what is under the surface. Always makes me think about volcanic energies and gods associated with volcanoes. Fossil and coal clues. This is just from AI, just a little AI summary on this. What is this? On the internet. Fossil and coal clues. Scientists find the same ancient fossils and matching coal deposits on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. You could need to go to the ocean to purify and cleanse. Salt water is a great healer. Geologists call matching coastlines conjugate margins. Conjugate. That makes me think, of course, of conjuring. So somebody could be using some kind of magic, some kind of spell work, some kind of wisdom, or some kind of machina. And if there's that matching coastline, this message is obviously for lots of people. So for some of you, this is about you matching somebody else's energy. For some of you, you have a matching wounding, is what I'm hearing. A matching wounding in each other's coastlines. I'm seeing puzzle pieces coming together. It's interesting because I actually have some puzzle pieces here to work with. Nova Scotia and Morocco. The grey quartz, this is from Department of Earth and something. It's on the internet. Not my words. Written by Professor Paul E. Schenk, Schenk, of the Department of Earth Sciences, who was the first to recognize that these rocks formed off the coast of Morocco and later became attached to North America as a chip of Africa during the closure of a former Atlantic Ocean about 400 million years ago. And the quote is, the grey quartzite rocks in this plaza come from the widespread 500 million year old Maguma group bedrock of southern Nova Scotia. That's so interesting. So it's like a part of you, people, place, or thing, it's going to mean something different for all of you. But like a part of you has been taken or connected in some kind of deeper way to somebody else or something else. Unbroken threads. Maybe one of you have traveled, maybe you have holidayed to Morocco before, or Nova Scotia. It's so weird when you say that so many times over. Something about pardoning. Somebody may have been pardoned. Somebody may have mixed heritage connected to Canada and Africa, or Afrikaan. Speak Afrikaans. Red, orange, black and blue. Red, orange, black and blue. Something about petals, the petals of a flower. And crows. I've been seeing so many crows lately. It feels like every day I see a new flock of crows. Some crystals. What are we looking at? 34, 54. Please give us clear and divine guidance. That'll be most beneficial. You have to excuse I'm not being my most entertaining and charming self. I'm definitely feeling like I'm pivoting my work to something that feels bigger. Maybe someone's been in training. Music, spirit quartz. You may be a musician, you may be connected to musicians or music in some kind of way. Maybe some of you are training to learn to play music. Something about waiting game. And then we have red jasper, healthy boundaries. And orpiment with success. So you or a group of you, I almost said a group of us, have been very successful. Obviously we still have the healthy boundaries to look at, and music is such a healer. If you haven't, you know, played music or listened to music or worked with music, there's something through about the cerebral cortex, something about the frontal lobe, and something about the expansion of consciousness, something about the frequencies connected to the very first days of time, to Pangea itself. What was the sound of Pangea? What was the sound of Pangea? What was the sound of the earth as it was slowly evolving? Before there were machines, before there were constant noises, before there were planes echoing through the sky, before there were cars on the road, before there were radio waves trapped into frequencies. What was the sound of Pangea? A story as old as time. A story as old as time. Something about Scrooge. Scrooge is coming through. Then we have a rose quartz with the inner child healing. A lot of you have done amazing work on your inner child healing. This could, of course, be connected to an actual child or a group of children. Please give me clear and divine guidance. It'll be most beneficial for everyone involved. Something about margins, something about writing in the margins. And the underground, but then I'm also seeing something about the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid is coming through. Please give me clear and divine guidance. You could be a fire sign, something about Leo energy, Aries energy. And Kazakhstan. When I go to sleep in the rainforest, I set no alarms because I know the sound of the birds flying overhead, of the river, of the goanna on the roof. They are the sounds that will wake me up in the rainforest. What was the sound of Pangea? Cuprite, with the Rites of passage, yeah. So something about a passage, something about a passage. So that, of course, as an Indigenous person, as a First Nations person, when I hear the term rites of passage, it makes me think about initiation ceremonies. Unfortunately, so many initiation ceremonies that took place for thousands of years have been stopped and halted. Please give me clear divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Feeling a lot of energies coming in. And teacher. This could be, you could be a teacher, you could be training to become a teacher. And amethyst with meditation. Purple amethyst. Yeah. Somebody just got that. Please give me clear divine guidance. What's the news in Canada? Okay, just for the fun of it. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys like this style, this way of reading, you know, just let me know in the comments. Canada news this week. Okay, so there's wildfires. Obviously sending protection and love to anybody affected by the wildfires. Wildfires in Canada. Floods in China. Something about hangman energy, hanged person energy, you know, that upside down, going upside down to see things from a new perspective. Trade disputes, the tariff threats followed earlier announcements from Washington regarding potential 50% duties on Canadian goods in response to provincial policies on US alcohol. Alcohol, oh my God. What era are we in? Rejecting all ill-intended projections. Thank you. Something about white flags. White flags. White flags. White dresses. White flowers. Provincial policies on US alcohol and Canada's dairy supply management. Something about White Russians. How many drinks do you put dairy in or milk in? Like alcoholic drinks. Obviously then there's also milkshakes. Smoothies, depending on how you make your smoothie. Could be best friends. You could have a situation with your best friends. Like I always think of Canada and America. It's like, are they best friends? Are they competitors? Are they like allies? And how allied are they? You could have this situation. It could be happening at work. It could be happening at home. It could be happening in any area of your life. But it definitely feels like my messages might be getting a little bit bigger, you know? Yeah. Messages for the collective. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. This is such a like drifty, dreamy. I feel like it's like time travel. This was like a time travel reading. Maybe you travel in your astral space to different time periods. Then you have the Wheel of Fortune. Fortune favors the brave. Maybe you are abnormally brave is what I'm hearing. But for what reason, for what purpose, with what motivation? True bravery comes from thinking of others, fighting for, loving for, changing things for, advocating for the whole, for all of us, for collective, for others, not just the self. Somebody may have anger management issues. But I'm hearing they're a sweetheart inside. Something about soft, gooey centers, which makes me think of magma and like volcanic heat. It makes me think of that tectonic plates that comes through so often. Yeah. And we have the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is the clearing the throat chakra. Ten of Wands is the closing of a cycle, burdens, heavy burdens to put down. There are many, it's like that, it feels like time travel. Some of you may need to do extra protective work around your third eye at this time. Third eye in the crown chakra. As there are threads that need to be removed and to fall away, as well as unbroken threads that need to be strengthened, is what I'm hearing. Oh, the bridge. Some bridge in Ontario. What? The opening ceremony took place for the Gaudy, that makes me think of Gaudy Shores. Gaudy Shores? Is that right? International bridge connecting Windsor, Ontario to Detroit and Michigan. That's wild. How's that even possible? Canadian officials chose not to invite American politicians or dignitaries to the opening event due to the ongoing trade disputes and tariff threats from Washington. Maybe some of you will benefit from doing a cleanse, some kind of cleanse, washing, purifying, cleansing. Turkey has been coming through a lot as well. Like Turkey the place, right? But for some of you it could be about turkeys. When is Thanksgiving? Thousands of lightning strikes. Thousands of lightning strikes trigger fresh wildfires in Canada. I wonder why there's so many lightning strikes. More than 900 wildfires range across Canada. What's the angel number? Meaning behind 900. And then we'll close it off as it's actually getting a bit late here. As you can tell by my puppy dog snoring in the background. Jupiter. The 900 angel number is a highly spiritual message of divine support. I just heard SOS, save our souls. Save our souls. Something about a dinner party. Some kind of negotiation going on. In Nova Scotia. I feel like somebody, I think I was studying or researching that somebody, who was I looking into, and they have bloodline that traces back to Nova Scotia. Symbolizing the completion of a major life cycle and the start of a new spiritual journey. It reassures you that your life purpose and humanitarian pursuits are backed by the universe, encouraging you to embrace transformation and shine your light. Something about the word shine, and I'm hearing everything that she said would have helped save them. But hindsight is 2020. Now what you gonna do about it? If this is about love and your connection to somebody romantically, intimately, it says 900 frequently appears. If 900 frequently appears, it points to a period of spiritual growth for both of you and your partner. For both you and your partner. I mean, whoever many, for all of you it's going to mean something different, right? It encourages you to approach your relationships with unconditional love, which I'm a huge believer in, and honesty. For those seeking, we don't use that term here. Yeah, something about intuition. A lot of you have had a big activation. Let's see what the Moroccan, I feel like there's a folklore, or there's like an energy connected to Morocco that's wanting to speak. Like it feels like a kind of ancient energy, some kind of like okay, interesting. Yeah, something wants to speak about the bridge that has been opened. Yeah, so we covered, I think just a second ago, something about a bridge between hold on, Canada International Bridge opens. Thank you everyone for also being patient as I continue to work towards the safest and best way for you to support my work and my channel. And obviously if anyone has any thing that you want to suggest, you can just put it in the comments. You're welcome to. As always, Gordie Howe International Bridge officially opens to vehicle traffic on Monday, July the 27th. It's funny, I was listening to something about passports just recently. It links Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and Detroit, Michigan in the United States. Connects Interstate 75 to Michigan directly to Highway 401. Okay, but why is there an energy from Morocco wanting to talk about that? What if I just type in Morocco International Bridge. I didn't ask about it connecting to Europe. Though leaders have spent decades studying a physical link between the two continents. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's something, there is an undercurrent. And I'm seeing somebody being pulled underneath a current. Like when there's an undertow and it can pull. So that has something to do with pressure. Like some kind of undercurrent pressure building. And how like you can look across a horizon. You can stand on a beach and look across the horizon, but you cannot see the currents of water. You cannot see the channels that migrating sea life can. While the distance between Spain and Morocco is only about 14 kilometers, or 8.7 miles, building a traditional bridge is considered technically and economically unfeasible. Instead of a bridge, the government of Spain and Morocco are advancing plans for a 42-kilometer high-speed rail. This came through before. Rail on the Strait of Gibraltar Tunnel. Gibraltar, that was coming through before for sure. If you've been following my work here, that will be familiar to you. That's wild. That is wild. Running roughly 475 meters below sea level. Maybe there's an importance about the numbers 4, 7, and 5. I'm also seeing the number 17, the number 38, number 35, and 8, 7, 6. That's like a countdown backwards. It's like a countdown. And this is somehow connected to Atlantis, or the Atlantean Ocean. Definitely a lot of like, yeah, interconnections. And there's definitely, spirit is wanting us to ask about motivations. If someone or something is trying to connect to you, why is that? What is that about? And now I understand why there is some kind of spirit, an ancient spirit connected to Morocco that wants to speak or say something about the underwater high-speed train that we just discussed. I'll be back in just 1 second. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you. Let's see if I can't get a little bit more light. Okay. Let's see if this helps. Is that going to help the situation? Oh yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm definitely in the channel. I'm definitely channeling. And this is an ancient energy. This is really ancient. Yeah. So you may be connected to some kind of practice of drumming or dance or oh, sorry, I can't stand like when the fruit's just filled with chemicals. Please excuse. Some of you may be mediums or have some kind of connection to the other side, to the other realms, to spirits. Okay, top 5 Moroccan mythology, folklore, myths and legends on the website Medium. Morocco is a country located in the northwestern edge of Africa, only a few miles away from Europe, and for centuries it served as a link between the two continents. This geographic location exposed the country to a multitude of cultural influences, starting from the Berber natives, sub-Saharan African Jews, the Phoenicians, excuse any technically incorrect pronunciations. There's a letter coming from far away. There's a message coming from the sky. That could be metaphoric, symbolic, or otherwise. The Romans and later the Arabs, and then the Portuguese and the Spaniards. And finally the French. Some of you could be Spanish, Portuguese, French, Arabic, Jewish, Greek. Aisha Kandisha is often depicted as a beautiful woman with long dark hair. Her legs, however, are those of hoofed animal or cows or a camel, depending on the versions of the story. This evil entity is renowned for using her beauty to seduce men and lure them back to her lair, and after she's done with them, she would ruthlessly devour them. She's sometimes described as a hitchhiker trying to get her hands on a clueless victim, foolish enough to pick her up. And several professional drivers claim to have encountered her on the side of the road, especially in the northern parts of the country. Something about the justice card, about the balancing, something about revenge, something about the Princess Bride. And the way women are treated. Let me just make sure that's still on. Oh, I didn't. That just went on to Stone Soup Grimoire. But that is not what I had playing before, as I'm specifically looking at copyright-free music. Oh, 8D Bilateral. I love that one. But that's not royalty-free. Here we go. From Healing Meditation Music. On the undeniably impressive app that is YouTube. Impressive because of all the content creators on it, right? Some sources say Aisha was, or Aisha, which is spelled A-I-S-H-A, was a real historic figure, a noblewoman from Iberia during the Reconquista. She was called Aisha, or Aisha, a contessa or countess, Aisha, hence the derivation from Candisha. Moroccan urban legends say that the Portuguese killed her husband and her family during her grief. Her grief turned her into a serial killer who would lure Portuguese soldiers back to her house and kill them. Other demonic figures share the name Aisha in Morocco, some might add that they are manifestations of the same entity. They're also rejecting all projections. There are also female demons, but with different attributes, and some people try to revere them by lighting candles in the shrine, or even offer them sacrifice, usually in the form of a black goat or a rooster, to gain their favor and appease their anger. Okay, so that may be the energy that's wanting to speak about this planned underwater train, high-speed train. There's also an ogre type energy. Which is something like the Baukensha, Baukensha, Boukhencha. Something about a mountain range, something about still water. A lot of people don't realize that, or don't think about what happens when a dam is placed in a dam is placed somewhere, and the devastation that actually has on the natural ways that the water moves, you know. That could be your emotions speaking. Jinn is the most prominent supernatural being, not only in the Moroccan folktale culture, but in every Arabic Islamic society. The concepts of jinn, as in Jinn, have been present even before Islam. According to Islamic and Moroccan mythology, God has created three kinds of sentient beings. Angels from light jinn, from fire, and humans from clay. According to the Quran, jinn is almost the same as humans. They have different races. They breed and they're subjected to divine judgment. However, rejecting all projections. You don't know what I know. Just quietly. All right? Sweetheart. Sweethearts. Yeah, so someone could be under divine judgment right now. However, they are subjected to divine judgment. However, they can't be seen nor felt by humans because they exist in a different dimension. Jinn can be benevolent, harmless, and godly, but some of them can be malicious and evil, and those are called demons. What makes jinn a terrifying creature in Moroccan folklore is the fact that their existence is canonized by the Quran. And since most Moroccans are Muslim, they believe their existence is a fact. However, the stories involving jinn are usually far-fetched from theology and heavily influenced by folklore. And pre-Islamic influences, the popular imagination depicts jinn as hideous creatures with supernatural powers that live in the deserts and caves and filthy places and won't miss a chance to hurt humans. They're responsible for misfortune, diseases, bad luck, and even death. Now, keeping in mind this is an audience, right? And an example of that is the fact that people recite Basmala after saying the word jinn. Jinn Basmala. They should have put that at the top of the article, right? Basmala is one of the key, where'd you go? Key phrases of Islam, and it means in the name of God, most gracious and most merciful. People also avoid using the word jinn, Basmala, and replace it with another word. But ideally, it's better not to talk about them in the first place. Well, I think this is a special, this is a direct request that I'm picking up on. Spiritually, energetically, telepathically. The resolution often requires a sacrifice, usually in the form of an animal. There is a shrine dedicated to this king. Oh, I missed a whole paragraph there. Speaking about this particular king of the jinns, there's something happening where you can make plans, you can plan things, but that doesn't mean that that's going to go ahead. Especially if energies that have existed in the land and been connected to the people of the land, to the stories, to the knowledge, to the wisdom, to the environment itself, have said no. They do not know that these energies do not know of the laws and the agreements and the negotiations of humans. And if they do, they know how temporary that is. Just as there is always someone in power and somebody who was in power once and no longer is. There will always be a changing of the seasons, a changing of the guards. There will always be change. And there's a reason that these old energies, these old angels and demons exist. And their memory exists far beyond our concept and the usual human understanding of memory. That's why when you're channeling, it's with a different type of wisdom and knowledge and intuition. But somebody definitely needs to show respect in this. There seems to be a lot of talk here about acknowledging paying respect, paying respect. High speed train lines make me think of Japan. And time is changing. We need to tap into that slow, ancient wisdom that is in the bedrock, that is in the ground. That is in the volcanic minerals turned to quartz. Much like lessons learnt, lessons taught, time spent, time shared. And each of us carry knowledge from our ancestors. Imagine when we all learn to respect and listen to that wisdom, both individually listening to our own ancestors and listening to each other, speaking of, connecting, sharing the wisdom, knowledge, and lessons of our ancestors, and the folklore, the beings that exist long before this time. $83.26. Okay. So much love from Codes of Harmony. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.